A stressful thought for a bee might be, I have to get the whole orchard done. And I've got a picture on this particular article of a bee going from one blossom to the other. How to make anything stressful. When I first read Byron Katie's book, Loving What Is, I found the work to be fascinating. I could hardly put the book down. I wanted to do it, and after many years of doing the work now consistently, I still find it fascinating. I'm still not bored of it, and I really love this practice. But here's how to make it suck. Just go ahead and tell yourself that you need to get rid of all your stressful thoughts. You need to keep doing the work until your mind is completely peaceful and stays that way permanently. Tell yourself that you need to work through all of your issues and that the work is the only way to be happy. Suddenly, what happens? The work becomes bondage. So, under the influence of these kinds of binding ideas, these stressful ideas, you start to toil and slave doing your work. You start to whip yourself and push yourself to get your work done. The work itself, which I find to be a very enjoyable process, becomes like an added stress in your life, and you may even resent it. And you may resent that you're still so far from peace. This is totally ironic. Doing the work in this way gives the exact opposite experience of what you may be looking for. Instead of peace, you start getting misery, and you soon may be tempted to give up or drop the work off completely. And if you're die hard, then you don't give up. You just slave on in the service to your hope. So that's just as bad. So who would you be without these long-term hopes when you're doing the work? Who would you be doing the work without the story of some final redemption? Who would you be doing the work without the idea of permanent peace? Without the I have to, without the I need to? For me, once I get a little distance on those thoughts, once I start to let go of those thoughts a bit, and really that's come from questioning them, then what happens is the work starts to be seen differently. Instead of like something that I have to do to save myself and get out of all of this stress and suffering, the work starts to be seen as really just pure exploration. And that idea of exploration for me is fun. Like, I actually enjoy this process. I love catching myself. I love busting my own myths. I love looking at things from new angles. And who cares if I don't see every angle? Like, seeing one angle that's new to me is enough. And that's exciting and that's interesting and that keeps me going in the work. So this is a very different way of experiencing the work than like I have to get to some end goal. This makes the process of doing the work actually very enjoyable. So without a goal, I'm free. I don't have to do the work. There's no time pressure to get it all done before I die. There's no slavery. There's no desperation. Suddenly the sun comes out again. The birds start singing. And I'm just buzzing along happily from flower to flower, enjoying every bit of nectar that I can find. This leaves me grateful, even with all my imperfection. For me, this is way more peaceful than yearning for the impossible, yearning for some end goal of nirvana, which I may or may not ever reach. So let's close with a quote from Byron Katie, the founder of the Work of Byron Katie. And this comes from her book, Question Your Thinking, Change the World. And this is kind of a book of quotes, which is quite useful, quite interesting, and I find a lot of interesting quotes in there. So she writes, the belief I have to work has never been true. It's the lie you hold on to so that you can keep yourself from the joy of the gift that you give. No one has to work. No one has ever had to. So thanks for listening. And be sure to subscribe to this podcast and stop by theworkasmeditation.com, where you can get all kinds of goodies. These newsletter articles I've been writing since 2010, and there are lots of them on there. There are open sessions, there are videos and recordings, and you'll also find all kinds of information about the courses that I offer, and probably the most central course that I offer, which is the Work 101. And in that course, we go into the experience of the work. We actually do the work, and you will be doing the work over 9 weeks or even 9 months. If you take the slow course, you'll be doing a lot of the work. And as you do the work more and more, you become familiar with some of these things that I've been describing and talking about. And my hope is that you'll come to enjoy this process as much as I do. Until next time, have a great week.